Those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. This is Success with Srini.
Welcome back to Success with Srini. Happy Thursday morning to you. I'm off to a very interesting start this morning with the podcast. I was just getting ready to press the record button. I was positioning myself in front of the microphone. Something told me that I should check the text messages. So I went back and I looked at my text messages. And there it is, a question from the listener of this podcast, but specifically a question about yesterday's podcast, which was about how to write a perfect resume. So that was yesterday's podcast episode. So this listener heard yesterday's podcast and is asking me a question. And the question is this: Srini, I heard your podcast yesterday. Awesome. Loved it. Thank you. But I'm in a very different situation. I like the paycheck I'm getting, but I hate my job. I know I cannot get better money or a better situation than what I have got going here. What can you tell me so that I can fall back in love with my job? Incredible question. So I stopped my thought process and I decided that I should take up this question and record today's podcast. And here we are. So let's get into this. What would I tell someone who is asking me about their job situation, specifically telling me that they hate their job? What will you tell them? What can you tell them? The first and the foremost is you got to first understand whether this is an emotional response or this has any situational merit. That's the first question I will ask. Is this just emotional or there is any situational merit? Is it real? This feeling is real in the sense that is there a reason for you to dislike this job? Clearly, in this specific to this question, this gentleman is asking the question, like the paycheck, like the situation, but something is amiss. Now, if I'm talking to them, then obviously in a consultation setup, certainly, I could go more deep into it and understand the real reason why this is happening, or at least I'll make an attempt to understand. But then knowing what I know from this question, my first line of answer is go develop some new skills. Some new skills. May not be in line with the job that you are doing, but develop some new skills. And while you are developing skills, not because you need to get that next job, that's not the idea, but you are waiting for a shift to happen. The shift cannot be forced. So you develop new skills, so you get busy, but at the same time you wait for the shift to happen. That's what I would do. And I will also start becoming more active at work, outside of work. So what is work outside of work? Some passion, some activity, some engagement, maybe social, maybe cultural, maybe some volunteer work, something like that. Something that makes your existence more meaningful to you while you are waiting for a shift to happen. These two things I would do right away. And then at some point, I will also start thinking, how can I become more creative in completing the work that my job requires now? Is there any creative way that I can get it done? Or are there any creative methods for getting the job done that I have on my hand now? So what would I do with the remainder of the time? Let's say there's a creative way to get it done and I could get it done quickly. What can I do with the remainder of the time? Well, new skill development, getting busy at work, outside of work, all that. So I want to find creative ways, but at the same time, I also want to get the job done quick. Because you see, frustration can come in at any point in time. An hour or two at work, that's all you have. And then your mind can go away in different directions. It's very hard to control the mind. Specifically in a situation like this where you already know that you're hating the job, I would take breaks more frequently. I'll take breaks to do a few things. First is, I'll take breaks to read. I'll take some breaks to meditate, listen to music. Sometimes I have taken breaks to affirm. So for example, let's say I'm recording today's podcast right now, and then I have a course that I'm recording. Then I have a radio show that I have to record. So I have multiple recordings going on as a part of today. That's my schedule. It has so happened in the past that while I'm in between recordings, one recording takes away so much of my energy that I don't have a meaning to go back and record my next recording. I take a break. And I take a break to affirm, not to get some oxygen, not to get my blood circulation going, or not to have a chit chat with others, but I want to affirm. I want to tell myself, why am I doing all this? When I do that, my next recording becomes easier, or my next act becomes easier. So it's important that you use the break to affirm to who you are and why you are doing. So this question has some level of affirmation in it. I hate my job, but I like the situation. I like the paycheck. So there is some gratitude there. But we need to somehow use that gratitude to decrease this hatred and increase the love. For that, I would build a gratitude list. My gratitude list has, okay, I'm doing this because I'm getting a paycheck. It's not about just the paycheck. What will this paycheck do to me, to my family, to my kids, to my children, to my liabilities, to my responsibilities, all that? I got to ask that question. So in the gratitude list is time. This job allows me to do what I want to do outside of this job. This job allows me to define who I am. This job gives me the experience. This job gives me the flexibility to send my kids to college and to other activities. This job allows me to put food on the table. This job allows me to stay where I'm living. This job allows me to have friends, great friends that I have at work, who I can bank on. Whatever, you need to have a gratitude list in place. And then, when I'm done with all the above, I will start taking some time out and I'll start focusing on becoming great at this job. See, I can't change this job. And I like the situation and I like the money. So why not I improve this job? See, earlier I said you should become creative. And also said you should become quick and fast in getting the job done. But then, what if I see greatness in the job I'm doing? Now, this is not about getting things done fast or quick. This is about acquiring a certain level of depth and bringing in greatness into the job. And then, one last thing I would do, that I stop having negative self-talk. Job is hard. Every job is hard. If you look at a job as a job, it's hard. If you look at a job as if it's your passion, it's your purpose, it's your calling, then it's easy. So there is no need for me to have a self-talk that is negative, specific to the work that I have on hand. So work is work. I'll get it done. I'll do my best. I'll give it all that I have within me in the time that is given to me, which is 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day. And that's all I have to do. I'll do it. And then I know, yeah, I understand. So this individual who asked me this question, I didn't get a chance to ask because this question came in so late. Based on the way this question has been framed, I know they probably are in this job for a long time. This individual is in the job for a long time and maybe has taken a situation where they have gotten to a point where they're so frustrated that it is almost bordering with resentment. I could see it, the way this question is being asked. But then when you attach meaning to any activity you are doing, the meaning comes from a good place in your heart, then any situation becomes light or lighter. Doesn't matter how much stress there is in it. It starts to feel as if somebody has taken the weight off of you. It's the meaning that makes the difference. I hope I answered your question. If not, pardon me because this came so late and I didn't have enough time to prepare myself, even though I don't prepare as much. But then hopefully this helps. This is not about specifics. This is about a metaphor. This is about a direction. At least that's how I positioned the answer. If this is helpful, do me a favor, write a review, rate the podcast. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then please write a comment, like it, share it, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that every time I post a new podcast episode, you will be notified. That's all for now. Wherever you are, be safe, and I will talk to you as early as tomorrow with today's thought, whichever was there in the back of my mind that I could not present today. I will try doing that tomorrow, provided I don't get a question from you. If I get a question, your question takes precedence. Your question is my priority. That's all for now.